Alright, what's up, guys? Past few videos I said I'm going to try to make them short, and I never do. Well, this time I'm even going to tell you. I'm going to get a lot of me today. Because I've received quite a few emails from you guys saying, hey, we want more videos, we want more information. Can you give us more, more, more? That's all you guys do. You ask me to give, but no one else gives anything. All you guys do is take. Okay, maybe you guys didn't ask for more videos, but I'm giving you more videos today. I'm telling you right now, this is probably going to have to get broken up into two parts. So part one, we'll start off. We're just going to quickly run through each of the matchups. And I had a couple other segments that I want to do as well. In the Kia Sorrento matchup of the year, not just of the week, but of the year, we've got the two rookies. And it's really hard to go winless. No one has gone winless. In fact, no one has finished with one or fewer. I think Mike finished with one win one time. And Mike's done 2 wins 2 times. So this is a real epiphany for you, Mike, that you're actually making the playoffs. I'm keeping it in D1. You suck as an owner in D1. There you go. But one of these two teams will finish with 2 or fewer wins. I can guarantee that. And so, anyway, back to this. It's really hard to go winless. So because of that, this is Bork's best opportunity to win. But I don't think he gets it done. I'm actually taking Ivan to win a game. I do have Jibo over Borkham's Ball Busters. In the Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week, I've got Pulsating Rhino Nuts over the San Francisco Fear Boners. We've got 3 nondescript matchups. I can take Jaquiz My Pants over Cecil Sea Shorts, the Dash over the Mason Knights, and the Rampage over Organized Chaos. And the reason why I'm doing all those is because we have a contender, someone that's trying to win this year, versus a bottom feeder, someone that is not trying to win this year, that is selling off their team. So I don't see any of the pretenders beating the contenders this week. So Jaquiz, Dash, and Rampage over Cecil's, Mason Knights, and Chaos, respectively. And then there is only one matchup between 2 contenders, and it's my Nextel matchup of the week, and it's the Vagisil rivalry matchup of the week, and that is myself versus my brother. Now, between the two of us, we have 3 championships. I'm the only 2-time winner. He is the reigning champion. We only have 3 losses between the two of us on the year. It's the only matchup that pits 2 contenders against each other. So, yeah, this is going to be the matchup of the week. So because it's the match of the week, we'll dive into each matchup, positional matchup, individually. Quarterback, I am going to give the slight edge to Durs. He did just pick up Matty Ice. And because Luck is on a bye, I have to play Joe Flacco. Now, at the beginning of the year, this would be a huge advantage for Matty Ice. But Matty Ice has been pretty ice cold lately. He has not scored above 20, which is a very obtainable mark for quarterbacks in our league. He has not scored above 20 since week number 3. And that was against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's playing against the Buccaneers again this week. But the Buccaneers are going to be rejuvenated. I wish I believed that. But slight advantage to Andy. Over at wide receiver, as is the case with most of Andy's matchups, and actually most of my impactful matchups, Andy always has the advantage at wide receiver. I always am at a disadvantage at wide receiver. In fact, I don't think any of my wide receivers would start on Andy's team this week. And Andy's throwing out his five wide receiver studs. So, huge advantage to Andy. But then on the flip side of that, I've got the running backs. Durs does not have the running backs, especially this week. He did pick up Brandon Oliver, which might help a tiny little bit. But the only reason why any of Andy's guys would start on my team in terms of running back is because Foster is on a bye. And it does sound like he's only missing the bye. He'll be back for week 11, which is really good for me. So Durs does have Hillman. I play Charles, I play Forte, I play Foster all over Hillman. Even though Hillman is putting up numbers, he's just a stopgap. So Durs has the advantage at wide receiver. I have the advantage at running back. Both huge advantages. For tight end, I'm going to give myself the huge advantage. I have Julius Thomas. I will put him 3rd among tight ends right now, behind Gronk and Graham. But over on Dur's side, his guys are just not performing. Zach Ertz has been straight up terrible lately, and Durs came into the season thinking that Ertz was going to be the man, and he has not panned out. Nick Foles is injured. I probably could have mentioned that earlier because Foles is on Andy's team as well. So Foles is injured, which is why he had to trade for Matt Ryan. But having Mark Sanchez out there, is that going to hurt Macklin? Is that going to hurt Zach Ertz even more? Yeah, I have a huge advantage at tight end. We play more wide receivers than running backs and tight ends. So it's going to come down to, I'm going to call quarterbacks close to a wash. So Dur's wide receivers versus my running backs and tight ends. Right now, Yahoo has Dur's pegged at a 51% to a 49% favorite. I am more hurt on bye weeks this week. I have Luck and Foster, two of my top 4 players out. Brandon Oliver is not going to help him this week because he has Vereen and Brandon Oliver on a bye. I think Theo Riddick is in his lineup right now. So projections-wise, I should go with Durs. I think top to bottom, I have the better team. So it is really close. It's a virtual toss-up. And because of that, I'm going to go with myself. My team's been performing better. 5 of the 9 weeks I've had the top score. So even though Durs is projected to beat me ever so slightly, I am still going to take myself, and I'm going to call my shot. Hurricanes 154, Fist Pumpers 147. So to quickly recap, I have Gbo, and then there are 4 matchups that pit a playoff team against a non-playoff team. I'm taking all the playoff teams. Nuts, Jaquiz My Pants, the Dash, the Rampage, and the Nextel matchup of the week, and the Vagisil I Scream, You Scream, We All Scream for Vagina Cream rivalry matchup of the week. I'm taking myself over my brother. So my next segment, we're getting closer to the trade deadline. We have 6 definite sellers and 6 probable buyers, and I'll get into each one of those as we get closer. So for the sellers, I'm going to start with the current 12 seed and work our way all the way up to the 1 seed. So for the sellers, I'm going to talk about their best assets that they probably have available. For the buyers, what future contracts do they have in order to get the available players from the sellers. And maybe we do still see some trades between sellers, like seller for seller, and maybe we do see some trades buyer versus buyer. I see some potential in that last thing, 2 buyers helping each other out, but maybe you don't want to help each other out. So the 12 seed Borkham's Ballbusters, winless Borkham's Ballbusters, the only team that is eliminated from the playoffs. He's got some semi-interesting running backs. So if a contender needs a running back, he does have Matt Asiata coming off a 3 touchdown performance. Rashad Jennings and Ben Tate. Now those last 2 are signed for long term, or at least multiple years. So maybe he doesn't want to get rid of them. So his best contract, or his best expiring, is Matt Asiata. Doesn't really move the needle. We're going to see a lot of that. Number 11 in the rankings, we've got Gbo. His best asset is Alfred Blue. Doug Baldwin. His cap room. We were in talks for all 3 of those. Now, Alfred's value obviously depends on Arian Foster. But if he's going to trade anything, I think it's going to be one of those. Don't know exactly what he's going to be able to snag for it, though. Number 10, Cecil's Sea Shorts. A week ago, I think he was buying. But obviously, he's selling now. He got rid of Matty Ice, Brandon Oliver. His best remaining expiring contract is Darren Sproles, who hasn't done a whole lot since I traded Sproles to him. And he's also said that DeMarco is available. I don't know exactly what he wants for him. I'm really not all that interested in him because I've got my 3-headed monster already. But he says he's available, so maybe DeMarco gets moved. Number 9, we've got the Fear Boners. He's got 2 tight ends. He can only franchise one of them between Dwayne Allen and Jordan Cameron. Cameron is injured right now, dealing with concussion-like symptoms. I was potentially interested in him for a hot second until I looked that up. So maybe he can move Cameron. He's got some 2, I'm going to call them wide receiver 4s at best maybe, and Eddie Royal and Dwayne Bowe. So maybe he can move a couple of those pieces, get something for the future. I don't know. Number 8, Mason Knights. His best asset is Jordy Nelson. He's not trading Jordy Nelson. I offered him a crap load for Jordy Nelson, and I don't even blame him for not taking it, but I offered just a crap load for him. So in terms of expirings, he's got a trio of older players kind of on the decline. Jason Witten, Larry Fitzgerald, and Antonio Gates. Gates is probably the most interesting out of those three. He's performed the best lately, but maybe he finds a new home for all three of those guys. Then our last seller, even though he's tied for 5th place right now, he obviously does not expect to make a run. He's already traded away all of his good expiring, so he got rid of Arian Foster to myself. Was there another trade in there? I don't know. He still has some talent on his team, but just like with Jordy Nelson, he's got those guys locked up long term. Sammy Watkins, who's injured right now, so I don't know if a contender would want him. Anyway, I thought there was one other guy. Crap. I don't remember. So I don't see him as a potential trade partner anymore. So those are all the guys that are selling. In terms of quarterbacks that are available, there's not a whole lot out there now that Matty Ice has been traded. None of the contenders really need a quarterback all that bad, but none of the sellers have one anyway. For running backs, the best expiring contracts are Darren Sproles, Matt Asiata, and Alfred Blue if Foster is out for an extended period of time. I don't see any of those guys moving the needle. Over at wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald, Dwayne Bowe, Eddie Royal, and Doug Baldwin. None of those guys really move the needle either. So I don't see any big-time trades for running backs and wide receivers. Tight end, there's a couple interesting names. Jason Witten, not the player he used to be. And then whoever Ferguson decides not to franchise between Dwayne Allen and Jordan Cameron, I think he's going to franchise Dwayne Allen. So Cameron might be available, but that's a risky play with dealing with concussions. So I don't see a whole lot that's still available from the sellers. But let's move on to the contenders. Right now, the Chicago Dash, 40-yard dash, is in 6th place. I actually have him pegged as the 4th best team the remainder of the season. In terms of needs, he could use a tight end. Maybe Jason Witten is an upgrade for him because Greg Olsen has fallen off a cliff. The whole Carolina Panther organization, whatever they were doing at the beginning of the season, is not working. His available assets that the sellers might be interested in. Somehow he ended up with Matt Bork's 2nd-round draft pick, both this year and in 2016. Just terrible. He gets the better of Matt, the 1st-round draft pick between his and Bork's in 2016 for round 1. Just terrible. He's got Justin Blackmon, if anyone thinks that he's going to come back. He's got Jordan Matthews. So he does have some assets if he wants to pick up another piece or two. And for all the contenders, I'm going to say who says no to this trade. And I want to know, who says no to this trade? Jason Witten for Matt's 2015 2nd-round draft pick. Doug picks up an extra 2nd-rounder. He likes the guys that don't go in the 1st round. He's picked up quite a few of them for double digits in the past. And he's not really going to use Witten. So it's my gift to you guys. Jason Witten for Bork's 2nd-round draft pick. It's going to be a high 2nd-round draft pick. Probably 13th overall. Just terrible, Bork. Number 5. Got pulsating rhino nuts. I also have him pegged as the 5th best team going forward. And I'm going to put Bayer, ? The recent news from Adrian Peterson. If he comes back, the Nuts looks like a totally different team. So maybe he buys, but maybe he just is like, we make the playoffs. If I win, I win. Great. If not, don't want to mortgage the future. So if he decides that he's going to buy, his need is tight end, ! I've said this in the past. Heath Miller, not a startable tight end, but that is his best option. He does own, in terms of his assets, he does own both of his draft picks. He does have depth at wide receiver. His glutton of sophomore wide receivers Patterson, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe not for a Witten or a Gates, but maybe he's able to swap them for a decent long-term tight end from someone else. I don't know. I say who says no to this trade. I'm not even convinced whether he's buying or selling at this point. Anyway, so I did a minor one. But I've got Jordan. Who says no to this trade? My gift to you guys. Jordan Cameron for Brian's second round pick in 2015. I'm already over 15 minutes. Yeah, this is definitely going to be two parts. So Ferguson can pick up this extra second rounder, and maybe Brian picks up a tight end that after he comes back from his concussion is better than Heath Miller. Number 4, I got the Raleigh Wrights Rampage. I don't have them. He's currently the 4th team. I have him tied for the second best team the rest of the way. If you notice, the 6th best team I haven't talked about yet. He needs, his most glaring need is a quarterback. Phillip Rivers, just like the Carolina Panthers, has fallen off, and I don't see him necessarily turning it around. Now, Matt Ryan would have fit very well on your team, I feel like, because there's not a whole lot of other expiring contracts out there. Doug has a Ben Roethlisberger riding his bench, but I don't see Doug giving up on Roethlisberger at this point, unless he gets something really, really good back. And Reisman doesn't have a whole lot that's really, really good. So in terms of assets, he does have 3 startable tight ends on his team. He's got the top 2 in Gronk and Graham, and it would be really tough for him to trade either one of those. He does have Owen Daniels, that if he did move one of his 2 really good tight ends, he could slide Owen Daniels into the starting spot. I'm just throwing it out there. My gift to you, right? He does have, Brandon Cooks has fallen off a little bit. Eddie Lacy. So good long-term contracts, but if he trades those, he's losing depth at running back and wide receiver. I really don't see an actual trade out there for you. At least picking up an expiring contract. So I'm doing a little bit different here. I mentioned that there's no expiring contracts among the sellers, but who says no to this trade? Phillip Rivers for Tom Brady. Ferguson would get a cheaper contract going forward. Reisman gets a little bit better quarterback this year. My gift to you guys. I'm in a giving mood today. The number 3 seed is the Fist Pumpers, and I have him tied with Reisman for the second best team. And just like Brat, I'm saying he's a buyer. I don't really know, but his reasons are different. He's obviously going to make the playoffs, but I don't see any really strong potential trade partners out there for him. He could use a running back and a tight end. Oliver helps, but I don't think that he's the answer. Durs is really, really thin behind Ronnie Hillman and Shane Vereen. Now, Hillman might go down once Ball comes back, but he also has Ball. Vereen has not played all that well. And in terms of tight end, Ertz might be even worse than Heath Miller. So 2 really, really glaring weaknesses on Durs' team. He did shore up his new problem at quarterback. Foles went down. He was able to pick up Brandon Oliver and Matt Ryan. I thought that was a great trade for you, Durs. I get why Chris did it, but yeah, really thought that was a great trade for you. Two of your needs it fulfilled. In terms of available assets, Durs has no picks for this year. He's already gotten rid of his 2016 first rounder. So he has his 2016 second round pick. And his other contracts are just too good for him to trade. He has very, very little depth behind his starters. So maybe he moves Ertz. That's really the only trade piece that I see him moving. So who says no to this trade? Very similar to the Rivers for Brady, where we're trading away a good contract to get a stopgap. But who says no to this trade? Zach Ertz for Jason Witten. I don't know who says no to that trade. You tell me. Number 2 in the standings. I actually have him pegged as the 6th best team from here on out, and that's Rob. Jaquiz my pants. He needs wide receiver. Wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. He's got a bunch of mediocre to low wide receivers. In fact, out of all the teams, he only has the 9th best wide receiving core, according to the projections the rest of the way. No studs, a lot of role players. Odell Beckham Jr., looking like a nice pickup. Golden Tate, will he continue his streak now that Kelvin's back? Mohamed Sanu, will he continue his streak now that AJ's back? Wes Welker has not been getting the targets or the receptions or the points. Pierre Garçon, RG3's back, maybe that helps him, but like none of those guys I think are all that good. So he could use a wide receiver. His available assets, he does own both of his draft picks. And then in terms of actual players, well, he's got Jason Morrow, Aaron Dobson. Does anyone want either one of the St. Louis running backs, Zach Stacy or Aaron Dobson? Maybe someone wants a Robinson. There's Allen or Kyrie. Ugh. Not a ton there. So, who says no to this trade? Another gift. Let's go with Aaron Dobson for Larry Fitzgerald. Who says no to that trade? And then finally, our number one team, yours truly. Guess what? I'm a buyer. I'm in first right now. I've got the best team from here on out, according to projections. My only real need is I could use another wide receiver. It's the only spot that I don't have a top 2 position. I've got a top 2 quarterback. I've got the best running backs. I got the 2nd best tight end, and my flex is 2nd best. So I currently have the 5th best wide receiver core. And I actually have some assets. I think I've got the most assets, and maybe this is, me trying to slant the viewpoint of everyone, but I think that I have the best assets out of anyone in the league, out of any of the contenders that are wanting to sell. I have multiple first-round draft picks. I'm the only contender that can say that. I've got some good long wide receiver contracts. Anquan Bolden is getting up there in age, but he's still producing. $11 for 4 years. Martavis Bryant coming out of nowhere, $7 for 5 years. Kendall Wright kind of fallen off a little bit this year, and Terrence Williams, $2 for the next couple years. I've got some trade assets. I don't think that Martavis Bryant is going to be available. Those other 3, I've got 2 first-round draft picks. They're all available. It's going to take something to get them, but they are all available. And so for me, who says no to this trade? Well, apparently everyone says no to the trades other than Bork and Justin. And I'm not going to divulge all of my other trade talks that I have out there. It is quite a bit. But again, I don't see a ton of upgrades out there for me. Like, I'm not going to trade a Bolden for a Larry Fitzgerald. They're the same player. I'd rather have Bolden $4 or 4 years at $11. So earlier I said I'd put the over-under at 4.5 trades. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to take the slight over. I see a lot of minor deals. Maybe some of these that I suggested get done. I see a lot of minor deals. The last segment that I want to talk about is some scheduling quirks. We have very clear separated the contenders from the pretenders. I'm quite confident that the playoff teams in some order will be myself, Rob, Durs, Reitzma, Brian, and Mike in some order. So week 10, there's only the one matchup. Myself versus the Fist Pumpers that pit 2 contenders against each other. Week 11, there's only one matchup that pits 2 contenders against each other, and that's the Nuts versus the Dash. You're going to see a lot of Nuts and a lot of Dash and a lot of Hurricanes here because we're all in the same division, the really hard division. And yeah. Week 12, we do have 2 contender matchups. So not only does the Dash have to play both Brian and myself, he has to play the Fist Pumpers as well. He gets the Fist Pumpers in week 12, and then it's the Randy Moss division matchup between the Nuts and the Hurricanes. And then week 11, another Randy Moss division matchup, Dash versus the Hurricanes, and then Rampage versus Jaquiz My Pants. So that's the only playoff matchup that Rampage or Jaquiz really have it. And this is the nature of the schedule, because we're the last 3 weeks of the season. That's where you play your division mates, because all three of our teams are probably going to make the playoffs. That's why we have a lot more matchups in our division. So Rob somehow continues to get lucky. I think he's lucky to be at 8-1 right now, yet he still has the easiest matchup of all of the contenders remaining, because he has already played Brian, he has already played Mike, he's already played myself, and he has already played Durs. So he only has Reitzma left. And Reitzma only has Durs left. So that really bodes well as far as Rob at least maintaining his bye week and potentially getting up to the number 1 seed as well, and all the glory and honor that comes with winning that. And that bodes well for Reitzman as well, because he only has Rob to play against. And on top of that, both Reitzman and Rob, they both have Chris and Justin and a bye week left. And I'm calling it a bye week because one has Bork and the other has Ivan. Like, I cannot stress how easy the rest of their schedule is. So even though I'm the number 1 seed currently, I think that I have the best team the rest of the way, I'm still not confident that I'm going to win the regular season, because my schedule is a lot tougher than Rob's, especially. Because I do have to play Brian. I do have to play Mike yet. But Mike has the toughest. So Justin could sneak in here yet. Mike, you have not made the playoffs yet. I think that you've got a good team. I think you have a good shot at the playoffs, but you have a tough schedule the rest of the way. You have to play, well, you get Doug this week. You have to play me and Brian because we're in your division, and then you got to play Andy outside of that. So mathematically, you have the toughest sledding the rest of the way. Justin has a relatively easy schedule the rest of the way. Oh, shoot, where did that go? Yeah, Justin's schedule, he does have to play Reitzma. He does have to play Rob, but then he gets Matt and Ivan the last 2 weeks. So if Mike is only 1 game up on Justin with 2 weeks to go, Justin basically has 2 bye weeks. Mike has to play Andy and myself. This could get really, really interesting. You're not in yet, Mike. I'm actually pulling against you. I hope you miss the playoffs, because I think that would be awesome. So yeah, 27 minutes and 25 seconds. This is a new record long, I think, for me. Maybe you probably didn't make it to the end. If you did, thanks. Thanks for watching. I'll be back after the week, hopefully with another victory for the Hurricanes. Peace.